Welcome to NFL World, where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And the Eagles trade Bryce Huff to the 49ers. This, it's not a shocker so much as it is surprising that they couldn't find a way to use him. That's the best way I can describe the situation. Because Bryce Huff is actually a really talented player, and he was brought in to be the Hassan Reddick replacement. The Eagles traded Reddick to the Jets, signed the former Jet Bryce Huff to a big time contract, and then he didn't play much because of the order that they had. They felt Nolan Smith was better, Brandon Graham was better, and a few other players were better than him. That's how they felt. So he didn't play a lot. So he's basically just sitting there doing very little. I also want to say this though: the media, specifically Schefter, who wrote this down, he said the 10 sack player. Yeah, he was a 10 sack, but not in 2024. He was 10 sacks in 2023. That, that's years ago. That's like a season ago. When you don't have that kind of production, that's what we're talking about. He did not have the level of production he needed to have. It's not, there's no other way to describe it. Now, obviously, it didn't hurt the Eagles. They went on and won the Super Bowl. So he does say now he can say he has a ring, but it's not, he didn't play much. It's that simple. Maybe the 49ers can get something out of him. He'll play more. He'll play alongside Nick Bosa. And some of the other guys they drafted to help out that pass rush with moving on from Leonard Floyd. Maybe that helps him in some way. I got to tell you, when you have players like this, you don't want to face the very talented players. And his last year in New York, he was really good. He just didn't play a whole lot in Philadelphia. Maybe he gets more playing time in San Francisco. I believe having Robert Saleh there, his former coach, his former head coach, now defensive coordinator, that's going to help him out a lot because we already have a connection. Fred Warner and Robert Saleh also have a connection. So that's not a bad thing. But as much as people say, that's a shocker he got traded, it's it's not a shocker, but it is a blockbuster move from the 49ers. It's also kind of up in the air saying mid-round pick. Is that a third? Is that a fourth? Is that a second? Is that a fifth? How is that worded properly? We'll have to wait and see. But I tend to take it as it's a day two pick, which means they paid a lot for him. But excuse me, they paid a lot for him. But if he's as good as they think he is, it makes sense. They also renegotiated his contract. So his contract was remarkably high. I think he was supposed to make 17 million this year. And they brought that down to under 5. So there's that. The best way I can describe a trade for in NFL terms is it's willing teams who have a lot to say where they go, whether they have a trade clause or not. It doesn't really matter. A lot of these players get a lot of respect in that aspect. So it becomes the next question. how good is Bryce Huff in San Francisco? We'll have to wait and see. I think San Francisco won this because you trade a day 2, day 3 pick, potentially. But you get an impact player and they only get the pick next year. Good move. It's really good. Again, like I said, I think he'll have the most chance to succeed with Robert Saleh in San Francisco. I think this benefits 49ers more. I think if you're a 49ers fan, you're excited about this. Him paired with Nick Bosa, kind of similar styles, can win on power, but rather would win on speed. So that kind of works for both of them. The only difference is Bryce Huff is more of a stand-up guy. He wants to be in his 2-point stance and not his 3-point. That's okay. It is what it is. As long as he gets to the quarterback, who cares what stance he's in? So there's that. I want to say this before we go. We had 2 retirees over the weekend and on Monday. We had Ragnow, the center for the Lions, and Ronald Darby, the cornerback of the Houston Texans. Let's start with Darby. Darby played 10 years. He actually won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. I believe that was Super Bowl 51. No, 52. 52, my bad. Actually, hang on, let me check. Yeah, it should be 52. It might be 56. I think it might be 56. To be 100% honest. I didn't do it before we should research. Hold on a second. Yeah. It was Super Bowl 52 when the Eagles played the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So I did get it right the first time. I didn't have 100% on. 100% of my information was purely off field, which happens sometimes. So yeah, Ronald Darby plays 10 years, signed with the Texans in the offseason, informs them yesterday he's decided to retire. And, that's kind of the way it goes. When you play corner, it's it's a lot easier to see if a player starts to lose it. And when Darby played in 23, he started to look like he was losing it because he went back to the Eagles, if you remember. The Eagles had all those slot cornerback injuries that they brought back Ronald Darby. And he didn't play well. He was okay, but he wasn't good. It wasn't like he looked like he lost a step. And then he got to last year in Jacksonville, and it was about the same thing. He looked like he had lost a step or two. So this occasionally, this does happen. You you just hope players at peace with the decision. I mean, I guess it's better that he decided to retire in June instead of September. So you'll take that as an organization. For Frank Ragnow, that one came more of a shocker to me. I was on Twitter or X, whatever, and I was looking through, and I saw that from Rappaport, and I was like, "Wow, really?" Like I almost checked it twice, 3 times, 4 times to make sure I was right because I didn't know if I read it completely wrong. And when it was like no, he retired via his social media. And then they posted his social media of him saying, "Well, look, I tried to convince myself that I was healthy enough to play this year, but I'm not, and it's time for me to take my family's future into consideration. And so I am retiring from the NFL." I didn't know this also. I found out this morning he was only 29 years old. And I was thinking about this over the course of the last couple hours and even the last day or so. I was thinking, that's a player who they were on the field when they were injured, when they could be. What would have happened if he could have avoided those little injuries that he could have avoided? Well, there weren't so much little. He had a hand issue, he had a knee problem, he had a toe problem, he had this, he had neck issue, this, all over the place. As I said, I'm working. Oh, okay, hang on. We're back. Right. I guess that's it. It's a way of saying hurry up. Hurry up, man. Let's go. So Frank Ragnow, if he didn't have those injuries, would he be talked about more? Because he was an unbelievable setter. And on top of that, really talented offensive line that Detroit Lions had last year, where it was just it was an entire it was a problem to get pressure on them because they were so good. It was really hard because they were just so talented. And Frank Wagner was the reason for that. So for the Lions, you don't like that you're getting put in a spot, but it does happen. Again, like I said about Darby, you just hope the player's at peace with it and can move on. Don't rule out that they could unretire. That always happens too. Don't rule it out. Might not be this year, but don't rule it out. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hebert giving you Bryce Huff to the 49ers, Frank Ragnow, and Ronald Darby retired from the NFL. Out.